Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, CeeChronicles here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I post fragrance related content and please do consider subscribing and joining the family. To those who are already subscribed, thank you so much for returning. Welcome to my take on the Khadlaj fragrances. I had 4 Khadlaj fragrances sent to me, which is Flur Oud, Harum Al Salan and that Cashmere Sunshine Musk. But I already had some other Khadlaj fragrances in my collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my take on 9 Khadlaj fragrances within my collection, and we're going to throw in another 9 as an honorable mention because I've had the privilege to smell. The very first one is going to be Flur Oud. Now this was gifted to me from the house of Khadlaj. Disclaimer, I do get a lot of florals in here, but I don't get the oud. So yeah, there could be some oud in here, but don't stay away from this fragrance because it says Flur Oud. Do expect a floral toned style of fragrance with a citrusy feel there. There is a freshness to this fragrance as well as an aromaticness to this fragrance. Slight greenness as well, but what is prominent in this is an animalic orange blossom. That is what stands out in this DNA. Very long lasting style of fragrance there. Just looking at this fragrance, guys, if you own it or if you can see, I don't know, it does have like a thickened concentration of the oil, you know, because sometimes when you look at the juice, it's just that I don't have anything to show you here. This one you can tell like it's like a very oily consistency of a fragrance, but it doesn't stain clothing. The only reason why I'm pointing the oily consistency of it is I think that is what gives lasting power. And you know, when it comes to fragrances, it's hard to get a DNA that's going to be distinctly unique or new or whatever. So we often liken certain DNAs to certain DNAs, not because we're trying to make sure that everything is a clone of or whatever, but it just makes it easier to have you guys on the other side interpret what the fragrance is going to be closer to. So this, I'm going to say, shares a little bit of some similarities with that Stellar Times by Louis Vuitton. However, feeling as though it's an aromatic twist, if you know what I mean, like very amped up there on that animalic orange blossom and a spiciness to it and a little bit of some freshness to it as well. The DNA in itself, I'm going to put it unisex, and you can wear this all year round. So Flur Oud is the first one on this list. And then of course they gifted me this one. All right, so this was an oil that I had been seeing for a long time, and I was just saying to myself, I want to buy this oil, but for some reason in my country this oil is expensive. I don't know why. And this, guys, is just fruit juice in a bottle. This oil, you know, came with this little tester here. Maybe let me just show you quickly. And this, the reason why I'm telling you is I do believe there are some knockoffs of this oil. So when you purchase it, make sure that it's got the Khadlaj logo. Make sure it's got the Khadlaj sticker of authenticity. It also comes with a little tester there. But most importantly, buy it from an authorized seller. Authorized sellers, guys, include companies like High G Scent. They are an authorized dealer of Khadlaj. They will sell these fragrances to you, and you will have the comfort of knowing that you are buying the authentic thing. This to me feels like a Khadlaj standalone. It's going to appease anyone who likes very fruity toned style of fragrances. I get a juicy feel of a plum in this, and then there's a tropical sweetness of a pineapple, very distinct there in that pineapple. So if you love pineapple fragrances, you're gonna love this, and it's very sweet, kind of giving me like a girly tone of a fragrance. However, in as much as it's sweet and juicy toned, it dries down powdery. So do not get the shock of your life when it does make a U-turn and dry down powdery. And the popularity of this oil, I think, is the reason why they have given us a perfume version of it, and I'm going to tell you the differences. The perfume version of it doesn't just translate this into a perfume whatever. There is a few notes that are added in this that you're not going to get in this. This one dries down with that powderiness, as I said, but there's also a creaminess to this. So there is like a woody, creamy touch of a sandalwood as a finish to this, but it's very enjoyable. It kind of feels like something edible, something that you would eat. This is Harum Al Salan from Khadlaj, and it's the oil. Now, let me tell you about the perfume. Let me just get, or maybe let me spray this one on my hands. All right, this is a close-up of the perfume. The perfume comes like this. It's single in a box. It doesn't come with a tester, right? I think this was born out of the demand for this. These two layer well together. These two just seem as though you need them as a pair. And I was fortunate enough to have Khadlaj send me both of them at the same time, right? So Harum Al Salan, the actual perfume itself, screams in that jasmine. So in as much as this one is vivid in the fruitiness and the sweet, sticky, juicy fruitiness, I do get a fruitiness in this, but the fruits are there to anchor, but it doesn't come across as sticky sweet as the oil. If it changes, I will come and update you because sometimes these fragrances do change. I do detect some patchouli as well in this fragrance, and that sandalwood thing that I get in here. So there is like a sandalwood finish in this fragrance as well as the amber. So yes, this becomes a fruity floral, sweet but not sweet as the oil, has an ambery finish, has a luxe finish. You know, they described this fragrance as luxurious and velvety. What they described in Sunshine Musk, that velvety thing that you cannot put your hand on, is something that I certainly get from Harum Al Salan. So definitely a must-have, especially if you are obsessed with this oil. This, yes, I'm going to put at feminine themed, maybe to an extent 80%. And it also has that DNA that's safe enough to cross over to all seasons. So you can pretty much wear this in summer, winter, you know, fall and whatever. It does feel like one that would actually illuminate there when you wear it in the heat. Beautifully done here, and also a standalone, you know, for Khadlaj. It is Harum Al Salan, the EDP. And then, of course, we have this one, guys. I'm not going to beat about the bush with this one. This one, I'll say, is still in a stage where I'll say, I'm still waiting for it to macerate. A lot of you guys have told me to give this fragrance time because it is still aromatic to my nose, still powdery to my nose. There is a musk, yes, but it's not a bare musk. It's a floral style of musk with a lot of twists and turns. So for the sake of not wasting time, I'm going to say we have a full review of this one, guys. It's a strong, heady style of musk, something that you may need to test because it's not what you think. It's not what you think. It is definitely in the Khadlaj style where they have an element of surprise with most of their fragrances, and I don't have anything to liken it to. So maybe it needs time to fuse, and if it does, I will definitely come and update and talk about this one on its own to just update for those who'd like to hear a follow-up. So this is Cashmere Sunshine Musk, the fourth one on this list. Number 5 is going to be Infin Absolute. I have had this fragrance for a very long time in my collection, and it is one fragrance I would say made me, you know, put respect on the Khadlaj name because this fragrance is going to have an unmistakable feel of that Creed Aventus, right? In the sense that it does have a pineapple, apples. It also has like a citrusy top there. The bergamot is distinct in this, but there is a spicy twist to this. Say, for instance, I were to be asked whether, if money permitting, I'd actually buy the Aventus. Well, we have actually lost track of, you know, what Creed is doing when it comes to the Aventus. So whatever Aventus you know, Creed Aventus, that is what I'm talking about. I would rather buy this one than actually go for the Aventus because the Aventus itself has been watered down. That's one. 2, it doesn't have as much interesting twist as this. This puts a woody, spicy twist to that enjoyable DNA that made Creed Aventus popular, giving this one its own identity in as much as there could be a little bit of that likeness to the Creed Aventus, of course, because of that pineapple. So yes, Infin Absolute is definitely a fragrance I love. Feels 80% masculine toned to my nose, but I can carry this fragrance without a problem. Ideal for fall, shines in the winter because it's very beast performing there. Yeah, that is what I can say about Infin Absolute. And then we have Empire Victor. You know, what is left to say by me about this fragrance? Oh, well, there is something. Make sure you have the new batch. That is what I can say. Make sure you have the new batch, because anybody who's coming into my comment section and complaining about this fragrance seems to be talking about the older batch. This one is a 2024 release, maybe April, May 2024 release. So yes, it has been reformulated. The old one does not come in a bottle like this and does not smell like this. This one is built around that caramel and lemon. Now imagine the yumminess there, but it doesn't stop there. It then has a triple dose of vanilla, vanilla blossom, vanilla absolute, and vanilla on its own. So it just took that cap for being the best gourmand for the year 2024 to my nose. And the good thing about this gourmand is even men can carry this type of gourmand. It doesn't give you girly. I think it is that lemon touch that it has. You know, it's going to remind you a little bit of those lemon creams. If you have eaten those biscuits, but there is a sophistication as well to this fragrance with the inclusion of some spices and some woods. I don't think they mentioned that, but I do feel that the heavy weightness of this fragrance is carrying some spices and some woods, or even the agar wood that they mentioned there. But don't run away from it. It's not a woody fragrance. It's more of a vanilla creamy style of fragrance, beautifully done there. Empire Victor, guys, is the 6th one on this line. I'm going to move on to the Le Fade, okay? And I don't have too many Le Fades. I just have 3, but the 4th one is an honorable mention because we did bring it here, so you can check a review of it. I did bring a Le Fade Luna, and I decluttered it, and I'm left with the blush. The blush is simply put your feminine floral there with a rose and some Christmas summer tone style of fragrance. Feels a lot like Idol. So if you love that, you're going to love this fragrance. I think when it comes to Khadlaj, there is maybe some rhyme or reason why they package some in the Le Fade and then some in the Khadlaj. Is the Khadlaj, the actual Khadlaj ones have a twist. They seem to be like fragrances with a twist where they might feel like something, but you cannot outright call them, like dupes or whatever it is. Whereas when it comes to this line, it does kind of seem like it's going like directly for 101s, if I'm not mistaken. So this smells a lot to my nose like that Ito. So the black counterpart to this one I brought here, and I told you that it did remind me a lot of that Olympia DNA. So if you love that Olympia DNA or something that smells similar to that, you're gonna love that. Another La Fade I have in my collection is this Aura Kiss of Rose. Smells a lot like that Latafa Sublime. Or better still, let us give credit to Keali's Eden Juicy Apple, because I think that is the one that started and then Sublime came later. So if you love your juicy style of fragrances, sweet, girly, summery style of fragrance, this is going to do it for you. And this has got the performance that is actually better than that Eden Juicy Apple. And then the last physical one I have here is Intoxicate. Remember, I said please stay till the end because I'm going to clue you up on some of the Khadlaj fragrances that I have managed to smell. Haven't bought because I don't have enough budget to buy all of them, but I can clue you up as to what to expect. This Intoxicate obviously just looks like, feels like, and it's going to give you that telltale sign that it's going to be in the same vein as Angel's Share. Comes off the La Fade tag. It's not off the Khadlaj, but of course La Fade is part of Khadlaj. I get a more crispier tone in this than I do get from the actual Angel's Share. So that's the last physical one that I have here. And now on to the honorable mentions. Disclaimer, I have smelled some of these honorable mentions, some I haven't, right? I have smelled Prestige Royale, and I can tell you guys that that fragrance seems to be a twist of that Hibiscus Mahajat by Maison Crivelli, and it is equal to the task. It's a twist because it's not exactly 101. As I told you, that Khadlaj seems to give us twists than clones. So yes, you're going to get resemblance to that Maison Crivelli, but what I can say about it as a heads up, if you are looking to purchase it, is go ahead and purchase it, guys. I have 12 Maison Crivellis in discovery sets, and I have 3 in miniatures. And I can tell you the one thing about Maison Crivelli fragrances is the lasting power. So for Khadlaj to go for a DNA that's going to smell a lot similar to that, you must expect a good lasting power. When I sprayed that fragrance, it did have the lasting power to match. So if you're looking for an affordable version of that hibiscus mahajad, you can get your hands on that Khadlaj Prestige Royal. And then there is the Karuz line from Khadlaj, and that Karuz line has got about 4 or 5. I have sniffed Blue Spice. That one did vibe a lot like Louis Vuitton's Imagination, but of course with a twist. So if you like that style of fragrance, you can probably get your hands on that one. And then there is Karuz Secret Mask, a fragrance that I smelled, and it did remind me a lot of that Arabian Tonka. So I did not feel the need to add it to my collection, honestly, because I do have 2 smell-alikes to that Arabian Tonka. And then of course there's Karuz Ember Gold, a fragrance that smells a lot similar to that My Thierry Noir from Louis Vuitton, but of course I think it's amped up a little bit more on the rose. I don't have that one. I've just seen reviews about it saying that, so I just wanted to clue you up in case you're wondering where to start when it comes to that line. And then of course off this Empire line, they did drop another 3 or 4, but I've been clued up on 2. One being Empire Regent, a fragrance that feels like a fusion of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather together with that Halfeti by Penhaligon's. It's not like 101, so don't go and say, oh, I'm looking for a Halfeti leather smell-alike from Penhaligon's, and just go for that and expect it to be 101. It's obviously going to have that Khadlaj weight to it. And then off this line again, they gave us Empire Empress, a fragrance that shares a lot of similarities to that Imperial Valley Giza. And then in this line, there's one called Warm. That one is a fragrance that smells similar to that Purple Oud by Christian Dior. I haven't smelled that one, but I did see a popular website, passing it off as smelling very similar to that Purple Oud. So yeah, that is what I can say, guys. Look out for the house of Khadlaj. I've noticed that most of their fragrances do have a long-lasting power. Even the ones that they pass off as musts, the one must that I've smelled, I cannot qualify as a must because it outperforms a lot of musts that I've worn in the past. C Chronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we discuss more about fragrances. Remember to turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one. And remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.